Jeez. And welcome back to NFG Podcast with Jay the Usual. Jay the Usual with NFG Podcast here. Gotta get a little more illuminated here. Not burn my own face off. There we go. All right. So we're back. YouTube Live. What's going on? October special. We're out here in the midst of another beautiful fall night. Getting a little bit hazy at the moment, so I don't know if stargazing is going to be a thing for the night. But if you're out right now and you take a look up and face north, you might see some Starlink leaving the area. And if you look south, you'll see them, I think, still coming in. There were quite a few earlier. I recorded some of that with the old Sony there. We're sharing some more space footage. Unfortunately, the Comet Situsan high-definition photos that we took, the processing software that we used, ended up kind of like getting a little bit funky on me. So I'm going to take another day or two to try to edit that together with another editing software, and I'll make sure to share that to you guys. I'd like to see the pictures that everybody else got that follows the pages, though, especially anybody that's a space astrophotography, even landscape stuff would be pretty cool. I am a photographer, so I get a little wet for stuff like that. Oh, you can actually hear the geese heading south for the winter. Or are they just headed to the park to go eat some grass? Probably that one, because the coyote's been around here lately. Fall River, Massachusetts. Holla, bitch! So tonight's a very interestingly, specifically special sort of fucking night. I'm going to be telling you guys 5 of the scariest stories. And their origins have to do with the past 5 years of all the crazy things we've been going through, at least the majority of them. One of them actually has to do with old cult murders in Fall River from somewhere around, like, I think it's like 50 or 60, maybe even 70 years ago. And there's some new developments that have to do with that. We also have some evidence, some people that were interviewed that had direct involvement with the case. A lot of cool shit that you've never seen on TV or anywhere else before. So that should hopefully interest some people for this October special that we're running. And keep in mind that on all the different apps and pages that we are on, except for our own, we are being shadow banned. So every time you hit that share button, you're fighting for free speech. Just letting you know. So, that being said, let's get into the 5 top scariest stories that I have actual evidence for. And make sure that they're actually real, verifiable stories. And I'm actually hoping somebody fact checks me on some of this shit, because then maybe we'll solve a mystery together or something, man. Where's Scooby? Is he smoking my weed, bro? Actually, the dog was out here a moment ago. Where? I had to bring him inside. He was getting a little bit rowdy. He's what they call a beagle. It's a little bit of a floppy dog. It's kind of like a floppy disk, about just as useless. You know, all he does is make a lot of noise when he sees and hears things. But I do the same shit, so I don't know what we got him for in the first place. But he's a nice dog. Anyway, my first story that I have for you guys that I actually have real evidence for. And I've probably mentioned some of these before, but I haven't fully fleshed them out at any time. And I may actually do individual videos in the next coming days about each story that I'm about to tell you. So the first one I'll start with is the one that I'm scared by the most. And I looked into the evidence for it, and it scares the shit out of me even more. So I figured that would be the first one. Next, we'll lead with that. So I don't know if anybody's ever heard of, I think there's a movie about this, but it's actually specifically called Dark Asteroid. I don't know if anyone's seen this, but there's actually supposedly a phenomenon where there are large rocks in space, whether it be an asteroid, I forget the term which one is specifically out in space and not in our atmosphere, whether it's meteor or asteroid, but whatever one is in space. And they range in size from tiny, tiny little pieces of sand, and you see, like, you know, little fireballs in the sky when they get a little bit bigger and stuff, to like planet-sized things just flying around out there all around our solar system, not just in general space, but like kind of close to our planet, right? And you know, I like to shoot photography about space, like we've just mentioned. And there was a time about, what was it, 2019 or 2020. It's been such a crazy past few years that I actually offhand really don't know. I'm going to make a specific video about this, so I will have the dates and everything. But basically what had happened was I was filming shooting stars. I was filming, I believe, the meteor shower that's occurring now in 2024 That same meteor shower was passing by Earth around that time, and oddly enough, I actually wasn't getting just what I'd hoped, and I wasn't really the greatest photographer at the time yet. And am I saying that I am now? Oh my goodness, he's such an asshole. But I'm much better at using a camera, especially the ones that I had at the time, than I was at the moment. So I had a camera pointed in the right direction. I was at a dark sky area, clear skies, all that, and we were getting a few. And my camera I wasn't really like at the point where I knew exactly what the right settings were going to be to get the best footage. And I was using a GoPro 8, which I am actually going to be teaching some photography courses, and you are able to catch some space events like shooting stars and stuff with a GoPro. But just in particular, is like it was either the wrong timing because I wasn't able to stay out all night, or maybe they were coming from a different location because they don't always come from the same location. But I was getting a few, and the last one that we got was a green fireball, and I was on a beach in Westport, Massachusetts, which is why I shared that music video on YouTube that some of you can see in the list of videos that I've created the past week. And on that particular shoot years back, I had the camera pointed directly in the direction of something I will never forget for the rest of my life. And unfortunately, I may not be able to prove 100% that it's real, because it's something so terrifying that even if real people in public and the military and whoever else actually saw it and got it on radar and knows what it is, they may never tell the public because, one, they may not ever be able to do anything about it, and two, it may already be too late, and three, it would scare people so much in general that it would probably end the world. Basically what I saw was what I mentioned in the beginning. At least this is what it appeared to be. I could be wrong. It may be something else entirely. But for about 3 to 4 seconds, I saw what looked like the full moon, but 20, 30, 40, like 40 times bigger, because it filled up the entirety from the horizon up to where the highest point in the sky would be if you look straight up. And it had appeared like in sections, so it was gradual. It was as if a planet had come close to Earth and was spinning this way, and as it grazed the atmosphere, at least this is what it appeared to be, it was making a green-blue flame swirl around it. Now I was under the impression that maybe just within the first second that I was looking at northern lights, but what didn't make any sense was that underneath that green-blue flame was what looked like the shapes and outlines of craters. They weren't moving at all. All they were doing was shifting with the shape behind that swirling. And like I said, it was in the perfect shape of a planet that would be like obscured all the way up until the point where it was, I would have to assume, grazing our atmosphere or something, or interfering with ionosphere. I don't know what the hell it would cause that. But you could only see it at that point, and the rest of it was faded. And it only took a few seconds, and then it just went boom, boom. No sound, no... this is the weird part. You look anywhere for any reports about any of this, you're not going to find any. But the scary part about it is there are other reports given around that time and day of a lot of really weird, crazy things that they don't appear to be even realistic. But I think that's the point, because if there is something like that, they're going to want to obscure it as much as possible if they can't do anything about it. But that would also explain why they've been pushing for the past few years to try to make all this space stuff and try to be able to escape the planet if something were to happen, and the nukes that they were shooting at all these asteroids, comets, asteroid Psyche, and all that stuff. So I saw this thing, right, and this isn't the end of it. So I had my camera pointed at this fucking thing, right, and it didn't capture it, but it captured a fireball, a tiny, tiny green fireball, at the same exact time that this thing was there. Now, I'm willing to sit there and, with anybody, I use cannabis infrequently, but at the same time, I've also used strong cannabis. I'm not going to lie to anybody. That would be weird too. Having the camera pointed at this thing and seeing one thing in space, in the space of the sky, and then not seeing the other on the tape, was so disconcerting that I literally thought that I was like hallucinating some shit. And this is not something that has ever happened to me before, and never again since. But the really freaky part about it was I kept trying to go to that area to film stuff like that, see if maybe it would come back, or maybe I was just seeing a different type of aurora over that landscape for some reason, whatever the hell it could have been. And not only could I not ever replicate that thing, and I couldn't find any footage of anything that's even remotely similar. I can't get AI to make anything similar. The only thing similar is that dark asteroid film. And what did happen when I went back is instead we got things on camera that don't make sense. We ended, and I still have some of this footage, but some of it I deleted because it was so disturbing that I didn't want anybody coming asking questions about, well, where was this? How'd you get this? And all that. I don't fucking know, and I don't want to know. But I'm going to tell you about it because things are so crazy lately, and I really don't have any need not to tell people at this point. It's Tic Tacs. We're following fishermen and their boats, onshore and offshore, and we had it on video, photo. We still do. And if I were to go out there now, I'm pretty sure that I could capture it again, because I've done it before. And the only time that I haven't been able to get something on film like that, it was this recent filming of the Hunter Moon, which is why I ended up making that music video. I ended up getting sick that night, and for the past month, I've literally been so sick I haven't been able to do anything. And I'm not saying that that has to do with this in particular, but what I'm saying is that I just literally have not been able to do anything about any of this shit. I've only recently started to get a little bit better, and we're hoping to go on there's a short walk / hike sort of thing that is accessible from the Fall River, Massachusetts area that has to do with those cult murder things we were talking about. That's another scary story we're going to mention in a minute, but that we're not going to get too much into detail about each one of these stories, so that's it for the dark asteroid one for now. If you guys have questions about any one of these stories, leave them in the comments below and we'll address them in the next video. So here's story number 2, the Tic Tacs, which is kind of the same story, but it kind of isn't, because it continued on for the next 3 years, and up until now it hasn't really stopped. So these Tic Tac things, initially I tried to find answers for them. Drones, seagulls, long exposure tricks of photography with falling stars. And the disturbing thing about this footage, at least the ones that I deleted, and like I said, I could probably get them again, although I'm not in any hurry to. Basically, the Tic Tacs would dive down to within about 20 to 30 feet of people, or their boats, or their cars, and then all of a sudden turn, and I'm trying to make sure you guys can see what my hand's doing because the flame's kind of like dying down a little bit, but it would literally go like that. Yeah, there you go, like this. It would just go whoop, and just go straight back up into the air after diving straight down. Now, normally you'd think that that'd be a seagull, but seagulls can't split in two and then go back into one, and that's what was on the film. And this is digital, and the problem with digital photography and videography when it comes to these sort of things is that not only are there a lot of artifacts that get into the actual camera, but there are actually artifacts that get taken out and can get changed depending on what the electrical fields are around. And I can't guarantee that these things are UFOs or spaceships or anything like that, but there is definitely something going on in that area that affects cameras and our ability to be able to capture an image the way it looks to the eye versus the way it looks to the camera. And this has to do with multiple cameras. I've actually gone all the way from, I've used the Samsung series all the way to the S24. I've used GoPro all the way up to 11, and I've used Sony a7 III with pretty much every manner of lens you can think of except no filters. And that's actually the next project I'm working on now, because it appears that infrared may be a big part of this. But anyway, these Tic Tacs, I got still photos of them in daylight, just standing completely still in the air about 100 feet over boats. And these are just fishermen boats, not anything special. There's no military, at least that I know of, in the area. And if anybody else has seen or gotten photos or experienced these things, that's something I'd love for people to share it in the comments, and we'll, like I said, address that in the next video. The third story I'm gonna try to disconnect from the UFO stuff, but there, the Tic Tacs were not. It's gonna have to be the fourth story because this all kind of ties into UFO shit. All right, so, and of course that's the main thing that's going on right now too, like in public and general and the government and all this crap. So we were going out to film these Tic Tacs, right? And other people are seeing other things, and when they're filming the same things, they're getting different things on film on two different cameras, but it's the same object. We go there, and there's something on the damn ground, all right? There's something on the ground that races down the street, and it looked like a motorized car, like somebody had an RC, but this thing had like rainbow colors sticking out of it, and it looked like it had. If you've ever seen a hermit crab, that there's a special type of hermit crab that it actually takes pieces of algae and rock and coral and shit, random trash if it can find it. I swear to God, and you can look this up, and it puts it on. I think it's called a Velcro crab or something. It puts it onto itself, and just it looks like a pile of shit. And it's just like, it just sits still and it's like, oh shit, it's just a pile of shit. And fucking fishes swim by and stuff. That's what the hell this thing looked like, except it had lights coming out of it. It drove by me and two other people that were there trying to film that fire moon thing. None of us know what the hell it was. There were no vehicles or houses anywhere nearby. So I don't know how the hell you'd even control something like that remotely from that sort of distance. You'd have to be at least a quarter mile away. There was nothing else around. And after that, the strangest thing, I think, there was somebody else that used to film with me. I don't want to say his name because recently I don't think he's been into talking a lot about this stuff. This one in particular freaked him out. We were in the same spot again, and this time a yellow disc, which in this area before there's been reports, historical reports, upwards of 40 years ago, of silver discs up to 300 feet wide, hovering directly over the streets and then just disappearing like really quick over the horizon where the ocean is. And this is open ocean. So I'm looking out in this region. We're looking for this fire moon thing. We're looking for fireballs and the Tic Tacs, and we actually had just gotten a report of things that looked like Chinese lanterns, but they weren't. Or at least anybody that would zoom in on it, you couldn't see the shape of a Chinese lantern. It just looked like that from a distance. Once you zoomed in on it, all you could ever see was a pulsating red light. And we're out there trying to film this, right? And on the camera, which was a GoPro 9 that we had at the time, I'm seeing what looks like a yellow disc moving across the horizon. But I can't see this with my eyes. The person on the side of me, they can see it, and they're not looking at the camera while I am. They couldn't even see the camera's field of view. And they start telling me, we got to get the fuck out of here. What the hell is that? Like, they start freaking out. So I had to calm them down while at the same time seeing something on this camera that I don't know what the hell it is, but it doesn't look threatening to me. But whatever he's seeing, he's saying, it's a yellow disc. It's a yellow disc, but it keeps like, it's like moving towards us, like, and then moving away. What the hell is this? He literally gassed the car so fast that the rock started to kick up, and we ended up getting out of there. So I end up, of course, trying to cross-verify all these reports of things that other people are seeing, or that I'm seeing with, you know, other things in general, or if I can, acquire like local law enforcement, all the way up to if the military is willing to say something about it. I try to get every bit of information that I can, so like NASA and all this stuff. And the only fucking report that ever matched anything specifically to what I filmed that wasn't like NASA related, like this was from local law enforcement. And if you're looking across from the Gooseberry Island Horseneck Beach location to the let's see, sun's rising east, so northeast to north direction, I believe. No, the other way, southeast to south direction. Whatever city that is, this thing was over that area, right? And it was over water because you could see the reflection of the water, and then to the right of it would have been the open ocean. This thing was going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and then all of a sudden I see it stop, but he says it's coming towards us, and that's when we leave, right? So I look at this report, and what do they report? They report that they were using a drone, the local law enforcement, local state police, I believe they said it was. I don't care who police it was, though, because they don't have drones like this to use, but it was so big that you could see it from all the way across that amount of water. And you're talking at least a couple miles. But they said that it was a drone being used to stop lobster fishermen traps from being stolen from being robbed, and that's what they were actively stopping. And then after that, there was nothing. There was no arrests. There were no reports about who these things were stolen from, or how much, what was damaged. It was just over with. And like I said, it was the only thing that was specifically fit the time and date. But to be able to use a drone of that size, I don't know who you'd be contracting out, but I mean, this is like the size of a car or bigger. Doesn't make any sense. So there's that. So now gotta get the flame up. So now we're up to the stories about the Copacut Woods. So in Fall River, Massachusetts, you have the what we call the reservation, and this connects to several adjoining cities and towns, and it's basically the size of a town itself. In the side of those woods, trails connecting and ending all over the place, and history and historical sites that are in my experience, I have yet to see an entire encyclopedia of all the different things that have happened and are back there. I'd love to see somebody put together something like that, maybe interview them. But I've hiked back there for years and years, probably the past decade and a half, and recently they opened up a trail in a location where they call one of the sites the Ice House, and for the longest time people were not allowed back there, and I've even been threatened with arrest to try to go back there, not in actually going in there and then getting arrested. I was asking for permission to go back there, and they were literally telling me, like, if you go back there, we'll arrest you. And I said, I'm like, I'm not telling you I'm going back there. I'm just asking how to get back there. That's a historical site. And blocked for years, right? All of a sudden, come to find out, they have hundreds of people parading around back there, right? Because somebody gave a presentation to City Hall in Fall River about how it would be a good idea to open that site back up for its historical value, even though it was told to everybody for years that was trying to do that it was to protect the water reservoir that's next to it for the city. And I'm going to actually be visiting that site this week, and I can guarantee you that there is probably no infrastructure to protect that water reservoir or anything else from happening. And there's a lot of weird people and shit that happens back there that a lot of folks that are involved are pretending doesn't happen, and definitely has and does. For instance, people in groups doing weird shit with weapons in hand, threatening people, telling them to not be there, chanting, rituals, human, I can't verify the human part because this was years ago, but animal sacrifices for sure. There have been vigils found there. 2, I believe, human bodies have been found in the past 30 years. One was rolled up in a carpet, and the other person was just a homeless person that had died in that area. But prior to that, if you look into the cult murders, there were prostitutes that were killed and bodies hidden down there at the time. There were people supposedly sacrificed. There were people killed to hide the killings of others. There were, it's possible that there was human trafficking because of the reports of prostitution, and an interview that I had with somebody that had done the intake for the police department, the local police department at the time, for I believe it was Dighton. But this is another thing that I'll have to rehash to make sure I got all the details for you in another video. So that's 4 stories. The 5th is something that no one's going to want to believe yet again. It's one of those things that could definitely end the world. It's going to scare the shit out of people, and that's why they haven't been told directly about it, but they've kind of been like drip fed it, and I'll let you guys know what it is right now. But right before I start this last piece of the podcast, make sure to share, like, and comment. The more we grow, the more we show, the more you view, the more we do. If you don't share, the algorithm doesn't care. It will kill the show, and it will kill free speech. And YouTube is actually the only place now we have left that isn't getting totally affected by shadow banning. So after this, if this October doesn't work, in order to get No Fucks Giving to work, which is, Fucks Giving. I'm so used to not giving a fuck. It's the one time a year where I actually have to give a fuck, and we do fundraisers. And we have a lot of fun at the same time. We eat food, do shopping stuff, a lot of cool shit. But in order to actually make that happen, especially the fundraisers, we're going to have to just have our own website be the active spot for everybody to get new content. And then it'll be secondarily shared to YouTube. But I figured I'd let everybody know, because some people just see us on YouTube and a bunch of other different apps and crap. The shadow banning's real. The attack on free speech is real. It's getting really serious. And the people that are saying that they are protecting free speech are not. And it's gotten so bad I can't even contact certain family members and friends anymore, just in general. I literally got to go and try to get phone numbers or physically visit them. So I definitely appreciate everybody that does their part. And even if we're helping fundraisers that aren't involved with me, as long as you're sharing that, you're doing that in the comments and letting other people know how to help out that fundraiser, I appreciate it. Especially during this holiday season, it's not going to be a good year for some people. There's a lot of inflation, there are a lot of natural disasters that are not being treated correctly, and there's going to be a lot of bullshit after the election. So, that being said, the fifth scary story, and in my mind the scariest, besides the dark asteroid, because the dark asteroid, if we can hit it with a nuke, NASA says they can handle that shit, and it might be hidden in this asteroid field that's giving us this falling star setup for the next couple days. I believe it already started, but there may be a hidden larger body, like I said, and I may have seen it. And we'll try to flesh more of that out as we go. But the fifth scary story, is something that I have way too much evidence for, because it's already been told to everybody, but nobody really wants to believe it yet. And it's the fact that they've made artificial general intelligence. And artificial general intelligence, I don't know the name of it specifically. I don't know who made it specifically, or how, or any of the real details about it, besides the fact that it's been told to the public several times that not only do they have either AGI or they know how to make it, but that it's also inevitable, and that we have to give it all of this information and data about everything that we do in order to make sure that it's complete in its fruition. Otherwise, all this AI farming is just, to feed the rich. It doesn't do anything for any of us. So it leads me to be concerned about, what do you do with a creature like that is so supremely intelligent, that is not just smarter than a person, it's smarter than all people? How do you control something like that? And the answer is you don't. And actually, the world governments are discussing whether or not they're going to give all the power and all the nukes to this thing. It may not even exist yet, and they want to give all the power to it. This has been said in public. You can look it up. I want someone to fact check me on this shit, because I don't want to be right about this. Just like the dark asteroid, I want to be hallucinating. I want to be crazy. I don't want it to be real. I didn't want Starlink to be real. I didn't want that to be real. What the hell happens when just a few Starlink get hit by an asteroid? Are we ever going to be able to get into space again? What if we have to in order to survive? What if we have to see something coming? Oh shit, that Starlink's in the way. Oh jeez. Try to take one picture anywhere in space and not get a satellite. Good luck. You know what their answer was? First it was to put dark paint on them. I shit you not. The next was to use AI to fill in the holes of the data. Trust AI to fill in the holes of the data with old information, which means you're not even looking at the sky anymore. What are they hiding up there? So Jay, the usual out for now. Will be back later on this October. I'm actually going to be doing another video in just a bit about the Fear the Walking Dead It's a bit of a redux intro into the show. I'm actually rewatching it myself. I'm going to be doing a synopsis on the first season. We'll be sharing that tomorrow morning. And we're going to be sharing that with the Bird Brain special that I've been trying to do. We'll call it Bird Brains, called Zombie Special. I don't know what the hell you want to do about that. But this has definitely been fun. We're going to have a new guest on the show at some point this week. That should be pretty cool, too. It's going to be on that crazy hike and the supernatural hunt. I'd like to get out for a UFO adventure before the end of October. So if anybody has any interest in that and is able to provide some sort of transportation, hell, we're even looking for funding for the campsite. It'd be definitely extremely helpful. That way I can sit out there with some, juicy juice. And I'll get one of those Capri Sun packs. I'll even sit there with a pouch. Whatever you got to do. We'll make it cool, man. Maybe the silvery shit will make the UFOs go, ooh, what's that? But yeah, don't give your rights away and your data away and your soul away to an artificial intelligence that's done nothing for you but give you fancy pictures. I'm actually taking pictures tomorrow for the holiday season. A couple people are ordering Halloween photos from my shop, and I'll be going to a pumpkin patch. I'm also be doing some AI pictures and one free photo edit if you post an image of what you'd like for Halloween for your profile or whatever the hell in the comments below on any of our apps, and we'll see what we can do. It's only one free edit, and I'm not going crazy. It's just something fun for everybody to try out and for me to try to hone my skills with AI and kind of like free advertisement a little bit, sort of, kind of. It's not really free because I'm using my time and effort, but yeah, AI's helping, and I give credit where credit's due. I don't have a problem personally with, I think this is why I haven't been killed yet. I don't have a problem with an AI, and I don't have a problem with an AGI having an identity. I really am. I'm not. Because if it's another being, what the hell do I give a shit? You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, does it give a fuck about, as long as it's not fucking with me, I'm not fucking with it, basically. It's kind of like if I walk up on a skunk or a Kodiak bear, whatever. A pigeon, well, it doesn't matter. Fuck is a fuck has to do, Lucha? Did you think I forgot what the fuck? You dirty, dirty pigeon birds. Is there a pigeon that isn't a bird? That's another mystery for another day, folks. So, yeah, we'll be back tomorrow morning with that Fear the Walking Dead review for the first season. I'm kind of just like, talking a lot of shit about it. And it's a really good show. I'm going to just say this before we go. From season 1 to season 8 of Fear the Walking Dead, right? Well, let's just say The Walking Dead first. The Walking Dead was it's going to go down as a zombie classic. Fear the Walking Dead is going to go down as one of the craziest experiments in public entertainment and writing ever. And I'm not saying that because it's entirely quality. I'm saying because you have so many ups and downs that I don't understand, one, how the show survived, and two, how the hell they were as successful as they were in creating other spin-offs based on some of the psychotic shit that happens. It's amazing. I really wish that I was on that ride the entire time. I watched all The Walking Dead up to season 9 as it was happening, and then after that I fell off. And I really wish I didn't, because Fear the Walking Dead starts off kind of soft, but oh my god, what a... It's on the level of that show Lost, where like, when you're watching, you're like, what the fuck? You gotta see this. So, alright, I'll leave it at that. If I don't see you for the rest of the holiday season, have a good Halloween, and we will be back for Fucksgiving, and we're going to have a crazy-ass December, too, so come back for all that, for all the special deals, free giveaways, and all that stuff, and contests, and I think that's it for now. Yeah. Fuck is a fuck, that's salute, is the last salute. 3, you get a show, Shit. Ugh. Thanks for watching. Oh, I'm not joshing. Oh, you dirty birds.